This article came to my phone, and when I saw it, I just had to laugh. And when I went to the comments, I laughed even harder. It is amazing. Not surprising, but it is amazing. It's almost like a phenomenon. When these palm colored individuals get so irate and so upset when their precious two-tier system that they love to call two-tier now, all of a sudden, works in the favor of someone who does not look like them or share the same ideals as them. In this case, it's Jussie Smollett. They are so mad right now that they are just up in arms that all these criminal indictments, 16 in total, got dropped against this guy. After he, at this point, I have to say allegedly, because, I'm going to use the media's term against them, allegedly created this hoax. Now, they have benefited from being able to walk away from a lot of crimes unscathed. And I do mean plenty of crimes over the years. I'm talking about crimes such as murder, rape, molestation, pedophilia, kidnapping, you name it. Many of them have walked away from it. Many of them who are in law enforcement because they're even more protected than the average white citizen, even though white citizens are still protected under the unwritten white privilege law. Even though it's unwritten, I still think that is in a small print somewhere. And also, it's amazing how they'll even get mad at their own system when another white person does something against a white person that they hate. As a matter of fact, I was looking through Yahoo yesterday, and I saw this article talking about the guy who ran over those people in Charlottesville, and he was the one that killed Heather Heyer. And they said he just recently pled guilty, and they said he'll be sentenced, I think, in July. I went to them comments, and then people was mad about that because he lined up with their ideals. The Trump supporter "Make America Great Again" shtick. And they got mad about that. To the people out there who think palm colored is very unified, they're not. They are actually some of the most ununified people on the planet. They'll only code up when it comes to us. That's like the only time they'll do it. The only time. But any other time, their so-called tethered line is very untethered. So don't think for a second that they are as a unit as as they appear to be, because they're not. That Charlottesville thing was a perfect example to show you how ununified that they were. That leads me into the article itself, and as you can see, there is an image of Jussie Smollett and Donald Trump. According to this article, which I will read, it says 45 says the FBI will look into the Jussie Smollett case. And speaking of another person that's upset, Rahm Emanuel, the mayor who needs to be the former mayor of Chicago, is another one who's throwing temper tantrums, and so is that police chief or that superintendent Eddie Johnson. It's amazing how up in arms Rahm Emanuel is about this, but he wasn't that upset when Laquan McDonald was murdered and shot 16 times. They made it seem like Jussie Smollett killed somebody. Like, they really are treating this like that. Like, how in the world could he get away from this unscathed? They can't fathom the thought that a black person, quote unquote, or a person who doesn't look like them or share their idealistic ways can walk away from something that they thought they should be, charged with and convicted of. But see, like I said in my previous video, they need to be mad at Rahm Emanuel and the police departments of that area, Eddie Johnson, all of them, because they mishandled this case. They got sloppy. But they're not going to do that because they have to stay on code enough to not get mad at law enforcement. So they have to keep pointing the blame at somebody, so they're going to constantly point it at Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett didn't operate on his own terms as an attorney. He had good attorneys. He had good lawyers. They at this point, they practically didn't have to do much because the police departments did it all for him. But like I said, they're not going to hold them accountable because they don't want to get off code with them. But let me get into this article. 45 said Thursday he would have the FBI and the Justice Department review Empire actor Jussie Smollett's case. It is an embarrassment to our nation. Really? So this guy who got off on 16 indictments and he didn't kill anybody, the only thing he practically did was hurt himself. That's an embarrassment to your nation. After all the plethora of other crimes that have been floating through this establishment since you've been in office, 45. This is the one that embarrasses you? I tell you, those feathers they show each and every time, and those in his little hatchlings eat it up all the time. It is unclear what, if anything, federal authorities could do about Smollett after local prosecutors in Chicago decided to drop the case against him. I'll tell you what, not a damn thing. Trump critics said the president is playing racial politics with the Smollett case, seeking to undercut the victims of real racial violence that is on the rise. You know what they're doing? Know what this also sounds like? The Central Park Five. When he took out them ads to have those 5 boys executed, even though DNA had exonerated them, he didn't even give them an apology. He was still hell bent on putting them in the chair. This is exactly what this is going to play out like. All I have to say is this: Jussie Smollett, you have been marked. They are going to stay on you like white on rice for the rest of your life because of this. Just thought you should know. By claiming a false attack, Smollett tried to exploit the hate at real Donald Trump has stirred, tweeted David Axelford, former advisor to President Barack Obama. Now, predictably, Trump is moving to exploit Smollett's exploitation. Talk about a vicious cycle. The agency began probing whether Smollett had any role in sending a threatening letter that was mailed to the actor at the Chicago studio where Empire is filmed a week before the alleged assault. A federal government official who has been briefed on the investigation told USA Today. FBI officials in Chicago declined to comment. The letter, which was received on January 22nd, contained a white substance that was later determined to be Tylenol. Prosecutors in Chicago announced Tuesday they were dropping disorderly conduct charges against Smollett for filing a false police report. The decision came less than 3 weeks after the actor was indicted on charges that he paid 2 men to stage a hoax attack to make him look like the victim of a racist hate crime. Smollett's legal team objects to comments to the media made by the Cook County State's Attorney Office officials, saying prosecutors and police are continuing their campaign against the actor. Prosecutors said they've dropped the charges, but insist that doesn't mean Smollett was exonerated of wrongdoing. News of the dropped charges outraged a variety of lawmakers, including Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel and Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson. This is a whitewash of justice, Emanuel declared. It's Mr. Smollett who committed this hoax. He's still saying he's innocent, still running down the Chicago Police Department. How dare he? How dare he? Oh, Rahm Emanuel, shut up. Acting like you so concerned. Where was all of this outrage when Laquan McDonald was shot 16 times? Exactly, it was non-existent, just like this one should be. Non-existent. The president and his allies have frequently attacked Smollett, accusing him of trying to implicate Trump supporters in the alleged attack on him. Now, if Jussie Smollett did not use Donald Trump and use somebody else, Donald Trump probably wouldn't even be tweeting about this. He only doing this because his name came up. Last month, Trump invoked his campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," and tweeting Smollett, "What about MAGA and the tens of millions of people you insulted with your racist and dangerous comments?" Well, shit. In that case, you can flip that and say to his MAGA supporters, what about all the tens and millions of racist comments that they've made against other people as well as physically attack? Police and prosecutors say Smollett paid 2 brothers, Abel and Olo Unsadero, $3,500 to stage an attack on Smollett near his apartment building in Chicago's swanky Streeterville neighborhood, in which he was made to look like the victim of a vicious hate crime. Police identified Smollett as a victim of an attack for weeks after the incident. The case shifted gears after the Osendero brothers, who were on the cusp of being charged by police, told investigators that they worked with Smollett to carry out the attack. The brothers told detectives Smollett hoped to use the incident to raise his profile and salary. Like I said, this is all comedic to me. Like, they are going to be ranting and raving about this for the next couple of weeks. But meanwhile, that college scam thing just happened. And in my opinion, that is way worse. than this. They've cost they cost the cities, states, colleges millions of dollars by doing what they did. But see, they're not going to come after them so much because it's mostly white people. I have to say mostly white people because it's a black guy, unfortunately, involved with this as well. But it's funny. All you can do with this is just laugh. 45 has no room to be grandstanding on anything. Didn't he just have an investigation completely dropped around him, even though we know he's completely guilty of that and many, many other things? But he has the nerve to try to act all high and mighty. Like I said, the jokes just practically write themselves. And as for his supporters, they are no better. They walking around here like they are the perfect person, as if they never messed up a day in their life. Some of them probably have a record, quiet as it's kept, but they ain't gonna say nothing. But y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you in the next one.